I do this work because plants fascinate me. Unlike animals, plants can't move, so when something in their environment changes and they can't adjust to it, they die. This past summer, I traveled to a remote field station in the Northwest Territories to see how trees are responding to thawing permafrost, which is permanently frozen ground. The landscape in the area is really wet. You often get booters walking through it. But since water expands when it freezes, areas with permafrost are often raised a little bit above the surrounding wetlands. And since trees can't survive in soils that are too wet, most trees only grow on the areas with permafrost. So 5 years ago, a gigantic 10-hectare plot was set up in the area, and every single tree in the plot was mapped. There were 40,395 trees in total, so it was a huge job. And this summer, my field assistant and I revisited every single tree to see how it was responding to changes in permafrost. And because the permafrost in the area is thawing so rapidly, I found that a lot of trees growing at the edges of those raised permafrost areas had died and fallen over into the surrounding wetlands. In fact, quite a few times I found myself looking at my map of the plot and thinking, there should be a tree here, when there was just a wetland. One time I even reached into the moss where a tree should have been, and found that it had been completely buried in just the last 5 years. So the rate at which these changes are happening was really shocking to me, especially when I think about what it might mean for the different species of wildlife that live in the boreal forest, and the people that rely on those species of wildlife for food. Even though permafrost will probably continue to thaw pretty rapidly, I'm hoping that the data we collected this past summer will help us predict what the forest will look like in the future. That way we can develop a plan on how best to manage this fragile and beautiful landscape.